My brothers and sisters, listen well. There are weights in this life, chains forged not of iron but of duty, guilt and history. Some call it love, some call it family, some call it friendship. But I tell you this, if it drains your soul, if it stifles your spirit, if it darkens the fire within you, it is not love. It is a prison. And you were not born to be caged. Many fear the idea of walking away. They say, but they are my blood. They say, we have known each other since childhood. They say, I owe them my loyalty. But what is loyalty to one who shreds your peace? What is family to one who poisons your mind? What is friendship to one who drags you into the abyss? There are 7 signs that scream for your liberation, and if you see them, do not hesitate. Cut the cord, break the chain, and reclaim your soul. Sign 1. When they make you doubt your worth. There is no cruelty greater than the slow erosion of one's own worth at the hands of those who claim to care. It does not happen all at once. It is not a sword that strikes in the night, but a steady drip, a quiet chisel against the stone of your confidence. It begins with small comments, subtle glances, a raised eyebrow when you speak of your dreams, a half-hearted smile when you share your victories. At first you dismiss it. They do not mean it, you tell yourself. Perhaps I am imagining things, but it continues. Their words weave themselves into your thoughts. Their doubts become your own. What once felt certain now seems fragile. You begin to question yourself before you even open your mouth. Is what I am saying foolish? Am I overreacting? Am I truly as capable as I once believed? You hesitate, you shrink. You walk into a room and second-guess your presence. The world does not see the battle waging within you, but it is there, every moment of every day. This is the work of those who do not see your worth, or worse, those who see it too clearly and cannot bear it. They will disguise their doubt as concern. I only want what's best for you, they will say. Even as they plant seeds of insecurity, they will frame their criticism as wisdom. I'm just being honest, they will say, even as they chip away at your confidence. And if you dare to push back, if you dare to question them, they will turn it on you. You are too sensitive. You are overreacting. I was only joking. And so you begin to wonder if they are right. But tell me, what is the cost of their presence in your life? What has their doubt stolen from you? How many dreams have you abandoned? How many chances have you not taken? How many times have you sat in silence, swallowing your thoughts, afraid that your voice is not worth hearing? They will not change. If they have spent years diminishing you, they will not suddenly see the light and uplift you. If they have built their identity around making you small, they will not allow you to grow. So what will you do? Will you remain in the presence of those who poison your confidence? Will you continue to explain yourself to those who have already decided you are unworthy? Or will you walk away? Understand this. You do not exist to prove your worth to those who refuse to see it. You do not need permission to shine. You do not need validation from those who are invested in your self-doubt. If someone in your life makes you feel like you are less, if their words or actions make you question your value, they have no place in your journey. Not tomorrow, not next year, not someday, now. Sign 2. When their love feels like a weapon. Love, in its truest form, is meant to heal, to uplift, to protect. It should be the warmth that shelters you from the storm, the embrace that reassures, the light that guides. But there are those whose love does not soothe. It wounds. It does not nurture. It suffocates. Their love is not a refuge, but a battlefield, where affection is a weapon and closeness is a trap. At first it may not seem like harm. They speak words of devotion. They promise loyalty. They hold you close, but only on their terms. You begin to notice the conditions attached to their care. Their kindness comes at a price. Their affection demands obedience. Disagree, and the warmth turns to ice. Step out of line, and the hand that once held yours becomes a fist. sometimes in words, sometimes in silence, sometimes in actions that leave invisible scars. They claim they love you, yet their love is a chain, keeping you tethered to their needs, their expectations, their control. They say they care for you, but their care feels heavy, like a weight pressing down, restricting, suffocating. When you succeed, they withhold praise just enough to remind you who holds power. When you falter, they remind you of every time they stood by you, as if love is a debt to be repaid. This love is not love. It is ownership. It is manipulation. It is the slow erosion of your will, disguised as devotion. They will say they only want what's best for you, but what they mean is that they want what is best for them. They will remind you of all they have done for you, of every sacrifice, every act of kindness, as if keeping score. Love to them is not freely given. It is a currency, a transaction, and you are always in their debt. And if you try to walk away, they will tighten their grip. They will use guilt as their final weapon, reminding you of how much they have given, how much you owe, how no one else will love you as they do. And in that moment, you will see the truth. They never loved you for who you are, only for what you give them. But love is not supposed to make you feel caged. It is not meant to make you fear. Love is not supposed to be earned, bargained for, or begged for. It is not meant to be a weapon wielded against you in moments of disagreement or used to control you under the guise of care. So ask yourself, does their love bring you peace, or does it keep you in fear? Does it make you feel safe, or does it make you walk on eggshells, never knowing when the next storm will come? If their love feels like a burden, if it wounds more than it heals, if it takes more than it gives, then it is not love. It is control, and you must break free. Sign 3. When their presence suffocates your peace. There are people whose presence feels like a storm, even when the sky is clear. They do not need to raise their voice, nor do they need to strike with words. Still, they drain the light from the room, pressing against your spirit like an unseen weight. It is not always obvious at first. You might not notice the way your breath becomes shallow when they enter. You might not realize how often you brace yourself before speaking, calculating your words carefully, hoping to avoid conflict, discomfort, or yet another exhausting conversation. But over time, you begin to understand. Their presence does not bring ease, it brings tension. When they are near, your mind is not at rest. You feel watched, judged, critiqued. If you are happy, they dampen it with cynicism or dismiss it with indifference. If you are struggling, they magnify your pain, making it about themselves, or using it to remind you of your dependence on them. They make even the simplest of moments feel heavy, as if the air itself is thicker in their company. This is the quiet destruction of peace. Perhaps they do not shout, but their sighs carry judgment. Perhaps they do not insult, but their silence holds disdain. Perhaps they do not openly argue, but their presence demands that you shrink, that you dim your light, that you make yourself small to avoid provoking their moods, their insecurities, their unseen battles that they have forced you to carry as your own. And what do? You adapt. You change your tone, your words, your actions. You manage their emotions before they can even express them. You sacrifice your peace to preserve theirs. You tell yourself it is temporary. You tell yourself it is not so bad. You tell yourself that walking away would be cruel. But tell me, what could be crueler than staying in a space where your soul cannot breathe? If you find yourself more at ease when they are gone, that is not love. If you exhale in relief the moment they leave, that is not friendship. If their absence feels lighter than their presence, then you already have your answer. Yet you hesitate. Perhaps they are family. Perhaps they have been in your life for years. Perhaps you have built so much history together that walking away feels like erasing part of yourself. But history does not justify suffering. Blood does not demand sacrifice. Time spent does not mean time must continue to be given. Your peace is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is the foundation upon which you build everything, your joy, your purpose, your very sense of self. And no one, no matter their title in your life, has the right to take that from you. So ask yourself this: do they bring you comfort, or do they bring you unrest? Do they bring you laughter, or do they bring you exhaustion? Do they leave you whole, or do they leave you shattered? And if the answer is anything but peace, then you already know what must be done. Sign 4. When they envy your growth. Growth is a natural part of life. To evolve, to strive, to rise above where you once stood. This is the essence of being alive. And those who truly love you will celebrate your ascent. They will cheer when you succeed, support you when you struggle, and remind you of your strength when you falter. But there are others. Those who do not rejoice when you rise, but instead resent it. At first, their envy is subtle. Perhaps it is a forced smile when you share good news, a lukewarm congratulations that feels hollow, a joke made at your expense just enough to leave a sting. But as you continue to grow, their mask begins to slip. They question your success, downplay your achievements, find ways to remind you of where you once. They make you feel as if your progress is a betrayal, as if by moving forward you are somehow leaving them behind. And maybe that is the truth they fear, because your growth is a mirror, reflecting back at them all the ways they have remained the same. Your ambition is a reminder of their stagnation. Your courage exposes their complacency. And instead of using your success as inspiration, they see it as an attack. So they try to hold you back. They mock your dreams, disguise their bitterness as concern, and plant seeds of doubt in your mind. Are you sure you can handle this? Don't get ahead of yourself. You've changed. Yes, you have changed. That is the point. You were never meant to remain where they are comfortable. You were never meant to shrink so they feel bigger. If they truly cared, they would walk beside you. But instead, they stand behind, pulling at your shadow, hoping you will turn back. They will call it loyalty. They will call it staying true to your roots. But what they really want is to keep you in place, because your growth threatens their excuses. And so you hesitate. You begin to dim your light, soften your success, make yourself smaller so they do not feel left behind. You lower your voice when speaking of your goals. You hide your victories to spare their feelings. You pretend you are still the same when deep down you know you are not. But tell me, why should you apologize for becoming more? A true friend, a true family member, a true companion will never resent your evolution. They will not feel abandoned because you have chosen to rise. They will not measure their worth against yours, nor will they hold you to the version of yourself that makes them most comfortable. So look around you. Do they lift you up, or do they pull you back? Do they celebrate your victories, or do they secretly hope for your failures? Do they stand beside you in growth, or do they cling to the past, wishing you had never outgrown them? And if they cannot rejoice in your rise, then they were never meant to stand with you at the top. Sign 5. When their promises are empty. A promise is not just words spoken in passing. It is a bond, a contract of the soul. To give your word is to offer a piece of yourself, to weave trust between you and another. But what happens when that trust is built on empty words? What happens when promises are made with ease, yet broken without hesitation? At first, you believe them. They tell you what you want to hear. Their words smooth, their assurances come. I will be there for you. I won't do it again. You can count on me. And so you do. You hold on to their promises like stepping stones across a river, trusting that each one will support you. But as you move forward, you begin to notice the stones crumble beneath your feet. Their words were never meant to hold weight. They do not break their promises outright, no. Such a betrayal would be too obvious, too easily condemned. Instead, they let them fade. They offer excuses, plead for patience, promise again and again with new conviction each time. And because you want to believe them, because you remember the moments they kept their word, you give them another chance. You tell yourself that this time will be different, but it never is, because to them promises are not sacred. They are tools used to keep you waiting, to keep you hoping, to keep you tethered. They do not make commitments, they make conveniences. They say what you need to hear in the moment, knowing full well that when the time comes to act, they will find a way out. And so the cycle continues. You wait, you forgive, you adjust your expectations, learning to live with disappointment. You tell yourself that perhaps you are asking too much. You accept their apologies instead of their actions, their intentions instead of their results. You begin to doubt yourself. Are you impatient? Are you unreasonable? Should you be more understanding? No, because the truth is this. A promise is not proven in words, but in actions. A person who values you will show up. They will not need to be reminded. They will not give excuses. They will do what they said they would do, because to them your trust is not something to be gambled with. But those who make empty promises, they do not fear losing you. They assume you will always be there, always waiting, always believing, and so they take advantage of your patience, mistaking your kindness for weakness. So ask yourself, how many times have they failed to keep their word? How many times have they given you reasons instead of results? How much longer will you accept silence where action should be? You deserve more than empty words. You deserve truth. You deserve reliability. And if they cannot give you that, if their promises are nothing but air, then it is time to stop listening. Time to stop waiting. Time to walk away. Sign 6. When they bring out the worst in you, there are people in this world who do not lift you higher, but drag you down, not by force, but by the weight of their presence, their words, their energy. You do not notice it at first. You tell yourself that your anger is your own, that your frustration is your burden to carry. You convince yourself that the way you feel around them is a reflection of your own flaws, your own shortcomings. But over time, a pattern begins to emerge. With them, you are not your best self. You find yourself more irritable, more defensive, more exhausted. You say things you later regret. You act in ways you do not recognize. You begin to see a version of yourself that feels foreign, someone bitter, reactive, anxious, restless. And the worst part, you do not like who you are when you are with them, but still you justify it. They didn't mean to upset me, I was just having a bad day, maybe I'm overreacting. Yet the truth remains. No matter how much you try to control it, no matter how much you tell yourself to be patient, calm, or understanding, their presence changes you, their words, their habits, their choices, whether through conflict or manipulation, through drama or carelessness, pull you into a version of yourself that is not who you want to be. Perhaps they thrive on chaos. Perhaps they bring negativity wherever they go, like a storm that never passes. Perhaps they push your buttons, testing your patience, seeing how far they can go before you snap. And when you do, they turn it back on you. Why are you so sensitive? You're always overreacting. You've changed. But that's the problem, isn't it? You have changed. Not because you wanted to, but because being around them forces you to operate from a place of stress, from defensiveness, from a constant state of emotional exhaustion. You cannot grow in an environment that poisons you. You cannot be the best version of yourself when you are surrounded by those who bring out the worst, and yet you hesitate. Maybe they are family. Maybe they have been in your life for years. Maybe they have moments of kindness, moments that remind you of why you kept them close in the first place. But tell me, how much of your peace will you sacrifice for the sake of history? How much of your character will you erode for the sake of loyalty? If someone in your life pulls you into anger, bitterness, or self-doubt, if they bring out a version of you that feels heavy, exhausted, or lost, then they are not meant to walk beside you, no matter who they are, no matter what they once meant to you. Because true connection does not make you smaller. It does not fill your days with regret or your nights with unrest. It does not turn you into someone you no longer recognize. And if their presence makes you question the person you are becoming, then it is time to let them go. Sign 7. when they do not respect your boundaries. A boundary is not a wall, it is a door, an entrance to your life that you choose to open or close. It is the simplest, purest declaration of self-respect. This is what I allow, this is what I will not. And yet, there are those who do not honor it, who push past it as if it were never there, who act as if your limits are mere suggestions, inconveniences to be ignored. At first you explain, you make yourself clear, you tell them what you need, what makes you uncomfortable, what lines cannot be crossed. They nod, they listen, they may even agree, but then, in time, they test you. A small step over the line, just enough to see if you will notice. A joke at your expense after you asked them to stop. A favor demanded when you already said no. A personal detail shared with others after you trusted them to keep it. And when you protest, they dismiss it. You're overreacting. I didn't think it was a big deal. Don't be so sensitive. They twist the story, making you feel unreasonable for daring to stand your ground. And so, you begin to wonder, am I asking too much? Should I just let it go? But no, you are not asking too much. You are asking for basic respect, because a person who truly values you will honor your boundaries, not just when it is easy, not just when they agree with them, but always. They will not need to be reminded again and again. They will not make you feel guilty for protecting your space, your time, your energy, your body, your peace. Yet those who disregard your boundaries, they are not careless, they are intentional, because to them your limits are obstacles, your no is a challenge, your need for space is an inconvenience, and instead of respecting you, they test how much they can take before you break. And so the pattern repeats. You set the boundary, they cross it. You remind them, they ignore it. You become frustrated, exhausted, drained, until one day you stop setting boundaries at all. Because what is the point of speaking when no one is listening? But here is the truth. If someone does not respect your boundaries, they do not respect you. It does not matter who they are. Friend, family, partner, colleague. Love does not excuse disrespect. History does not justify violation. No relationship, no matter how deep, should demand the sacrifice of your self-worth. So ask yourself, how many times have they ignored you? How many times have they made you feel guilty for protecting your own peace? How much longer will you explain the same things to someone who has no intention of hearing them? A person who truly cares will not make you fight for the respect you deserve. And if someone refuses to honor your boundaries, then it is time to honor yourself and walk away. In this life, the people we surround ourselves with shape our thoughts, our emotions, and even the path we walk. Some uplift us, encourage us, and nourish our souls with kindness and loyalty. But others, no matter how close they may be, become the very weight that holds us back. They make us question our worth. They turn love into a weapon. Their presence drains our peace. They envy our growth, make promises they never intend to keep, bring out the worst in us, and trample over our boundaries as if they do not matter. And yet we hesitate. We cling to history, to shared moments, to the hope that they will change. We tell ourselves that loyalty means endurance, that love means sacrifice, that family means forever. But love, true love, does not ask us to suffer. Loyalty does not mean self-destruction, and no relationship, no matter how deep its roots, should come at the cost of our own peace. To walk away is not an act of cruelty, it is an act of self-respect. It is choosing freedom over guilt, peace over chaos, growth over stagnation. It is choosing yourself, not out of selfishness, but out of the understanding that you deserve better. Let this be your reminder. You are not bound by the past. You are not obligated to carry the weight of those who refuse to walk beside you in respect, love, and kindness. And if someone in your life is taking more than they give, wounding more than they heal, dimming more than they brighten, then you already know what must be done. Choose yourself. Choose peace. Choose freedom. Thank you, and may you find the strength to walk the path you were meant for. God bless you.